You know, every day I feel like my faith in games journalism just shrinks more and more, and it's honestly at the point where I just don't even listen to anything that the mainstream outlets have to say anymore, because 99% of the time they're either pushing an agenda, telling gamers they're wrong, or just propping up some other bullshit narrative that just further and further drives a wedge between gamers, developers, and reviewers. Honestly, I think the days of traditional games journalism are numbered if they're not already over. I think most people flock to YouTube and more trusted influencer types now when it comes to these things, rather than looking to traditional outlets like IGN or GameSpot for reviews or, really anything credible. And so I say all of that because what I'm about to show you is something that was published through GameSpot.com. At a time where faith in games journalism could not be any lower, GameSpot decided to put out this absolute gem of an article to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil. And I'm just going to throw up the title on the screen for you guys and read it for you because, my god, this is one of the most disturbing things I've ever read from a mainstream news source, and the fact that it is still up today is wild to me. And the title of the article is, "One of Resident Evil's fundamental joys is watching beautiful men get hurt. The people love Leon Kennedy for more than his action game pedigree." Now, rather than just tell you what this article says, I'm just going to read some of it to you. I'm not going to read all of it to you because I don't want it to be clipped out of context, and I really just don't think I should be repeating half of what's in this article because it's quite frankly disgusting. For all the hate IGN gets, what they put out to celebrate Resident Evil's 30th anniversary was a look back at all the canceled Resident Evil games, and what GameSpot chooses to put out is some freelance journalist's barely disguised gore fetish. Someone needs to explain to me how this made it past editing, because this is absolutely insane. And I'm gonna just hide the name of the author of this article. You are free to go and find them if you wish. Like I said, the article is still up on GameSpot. Again, please do not go and harass anybody because of this video. This is more to call out GameSpot than anything because they are a massive corporation. They get early access to games, they get review codes. They are, for all intents and purposes, one of the last trusted voices in the games journalism space, and I use trusted very loosely, and the fact that they think it's okay to put out articles like this is just completely baffling to me. So without further ado, let's just jump into the article and take a look at what it says. I'm not going to read this entire snippet here, I'm just going to kind of highlight the last piece where it says, "The franchise, Resident Evil, puts its stars in constant peril. Because that peril is so fixated on the body and its permeability, it often has an erotic dimension. It's easy to limit this to the game's cast of femme fatales and women in peril, but it is the men, especially Leon Kennedy, who bear the brunt of it in practice. One of the series' sincere pleasures is watching beautiful people, but especially beautiful men, get hurt." Now, I don't know about you, but this is not a reaction that I or anyone I know who's played Resident Evil has ever had while playing the games. Yes, you can say the characters are attractive, but I don't think people are attracted to them getting hurt. When Grace gets a chunk of her arm bitten off, I'm not sitting there thinking about how hot that is. That's fucking creepy. It's supposed to be terrifying, not exciting. The article also takes this weird detour into a discussion on race where it says that the zombie genre has a obvious racial dimension because a zombie is a genetically compromised person without rights. I really don't understand the mental gymnastics that are needed to kind of justify this line of thinking, but I've never been playing a Resident Evil game and looked at the zombies as an allegory for another race of people. This actually kind of reminds me of when Resident Evil 5 came out and everyone was talking about how bad it is that Chris Redfield was in Africa shooting black zombies. But anyway, the article does circle back eventually to this author's gore fetish, and I'm going to highlight another piece here where it says, "Finding different ways to die and watching Leon be torn apart or hanged or sliced in twain with a chainsaw is almost a mini-game of its own. Games like Tomb Raider and Dead Space would exaggerate this impulse, making their deaths into miniature fake snuff films and hyper-gory, dreamy sci-fi horror a la Event Horizon, respectively." My god, dude, do they just let anybody become a games journalist these days? Holy fuck. This is genuinely disturbing. I have never been playing Resident Evil. This person is sitting there getting aroused by repeatedly making the characters in Resident Evil die. You can't make this stuff up. The article also makes the claim that the Krauser boss fight in Resident Evil 4 is homoerotic to a comical degree. I'm at a loss for words, guys. I don't understand how you play the Resident Evil games and arrive at this conclusion. Like, these are the people that are complaining to you about layoffs in the games industry, and when it comes to games journalism, like, these are the people who are losing their jobs and complaining to you that you need to feel bad for them. Like, I'm sorry, but if this is the article quality that you are putting out and it's just your barely disguised fetish, I don't want you working in the games industry or in games journalism at all. I think you need to be in an insane asylum, because what the fuck? It also cites Dr. Gideon from Resident Evil 9, the latest release, and his interactions with Leon as encouraging this horny gaze in the first place. And I don't know if you have played RE9 yet. I've beaten it 3 times now. I'm working on the platinum still, and there is no point in the game where I see any chemistry between Dr. Gideon and Leon. Dr. Gideon is supposed to be creepy and off-putting, not arousing to you. Again, there is nothing erotic about zombies hurting people in Resident Evil. I don't know how many times I need to stress that. The article concludes with what I think is actually a somewhat decent examination of the horror genre, where it discusses the contrast between things that we perceive as beautiful and things that are grotesque. That's a well-known facet of the horror genre, but I don't know how you make the leap from that to finding Resident Evil erotic and arousing. And like I said, man, this just goes to show the absolute state of games journalism in the year 2026. The fact that this made it past GameSpot's editorial team is just absolutely insane to me. Like, multiple people had to get their eyes on this and say, yep, that's okay, we want to publish that. That's what we want our brand to be attached to, is some crazy weirdo's gore fetish. You know, if I was Capcom, I would be really pissed off at this article. I would be sending DMCA takedowns. I would be telling them, you need to get this off your front page. This is not the attention we want for our 30th anniversary. And honestly, the author of this article needs to seek genuine mental help, because this is not normal thinking or behavior. A normal person does not watch somebody take a chunk out of a Leon's shoulder and think, wow, that's hot. No, that's supposed to scare you into running away in the game. I don't know, man. It's just stuff like this that makes me laugh when it comes to the games journalism industry and just gaming in general, because this type of behavior is not confined only to journalists. Now, don't get me wrong, that's where it's the most prevalent, but we've seen developers push stuff like this in the past, and it's just absolutely wild that these people are working in the industry, they have jobs, and we're just expected to act like they're normal and respectable people that contribute positively to our industry. I'm sorry, but I don't think this person's perspective is as valid on video games as mine is, or anyone in my comment sections for that matter. But I think that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I've got to get away from this topic and the absolute mindfuck that was reading it, because oh my god, that was awful. Like I said, if you want to find the article, you can just search the title on Google. GameSpot still has it up as of me posting this video. The only thing they've done is disable comments on it, which is pretty crazy to me, because they've seen the reaction to it and they've decided to keep it up for whatever reason. But yeah, man, just be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this article if you get a chance to read it. And honestly, just games journalism in general. Do you still put stock into places like GameSpot and IGN, or do you follow like a specific YouTuber? What are your thoughts? I'm definitely in the camp of the latter. I have like a handful of YouTubers that I follow for what I trust to be, you know, genuine reviews and takes on the industry. I just find that they're better representative of the values that I hold and what I look for in games, but that's just my opinion. But I think we can all agree that this article is pretty messed up, and it's not a normal way to look at survival horror or video games in general. But like I said, I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I have some more exciting videos coming out soon, but I just had to make one on this topic because of how crazy it was, and if I had to see it, you guys have to see it too. So with all of that said, take care, and I will see you guys in the next video.